Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the Hindu News Analysis. Well, the date is 22nd September 2025, and in this video we are going to discuss some important articles which are very much relevant for your preparation. But before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief idea how we are going to approach these articles. With respect to every article which we are going to discuss today, first we'll try to understand what is the summary of the article, in which we'll try to understand the story, what are the important things which we need to know, and how it has built so far. So this is what we are going to understand and the crux of the article. Then second point, we'll try to understand what are the key points given in the articles so that we will have the better understanding of the news article and you don't need to go back and read the newspaper. And also these are the important points which you have to note down, or you can get my PPT for that, so that from which you can revise. Then the third part is we are going to derive the possible prelims or mains question from this article which can be relevant for your exams. So prelims or mains question. So this is what our approach would be while discussing these articles. Now without any delay, let's start our discussion by looking at the first article which is given in here. Well, as you can see here on the screen, it is very much evident, very much clear what it is about. As the Shanghai Cooperation Organization heads condemn Pahalgam terrorist attack. So, in this article, what we are going to learn, we are going to see how China is trying to be the world leader, and China is trying its best to to add all these Asian countries, all these Asian giants together so that we can work together. And also we are seeing that how there is proper respect given to every country which is the part of it, and how China is building the initiatives to increase the membership of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And also we'll see various things which various developments which happened during this summit. So with respect to this, we are going to understand these facts, and as the article itself is very much factual, so we will jump directly to the key points and try to understand that. Reason, we had discussed this Shanghai Cooperation many times with respect to this topic. We had taken various articles, so we don't need to dig deep again and try to understand the developments to it. How first it was evident that Mr. Modi will not visit it personally, but after Pahalgam attack, how the things started to change. After tariff war with Russia, with USA, how the things started to change. So we had already developed that story. Now what we need to know about this, we will see what are the key points which were raised in this organization, in this summit, and at the same time we'll try to understand what are the members of it and which was a new country which was added as a member, and what are the plans of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization for the future. Let's try to understand the key points now directly. Here, first thing, it is about countering terrorism. The Tianjin Declaration unequivocally condemned terrorism, as as the article here itself suggests that it has condemned the Pahalgam attack. With Pahalgam attack, it also condemned the Jafar Express attack in Pakistan, Balochistan, which was done by the Balochistan people there, and also various other attacks which often happen in Indian subcontinent. So it had, it has raised these issues and it has condemned these attacks, and also it has called for an end to the cross-border movement of terrorists. So it has also raised this issue because it is one of the major issue which India is facing, especially from the Pakistani side. That these militant terrorists, they often cross the borders and infiltrate in our lands and try to spread the corruption here. So with respect to that, this point has been raised here, and also affirming the commitment to the fight against separatism and extremism. So these are things which are very much evident, very much important for India's foreign policy, for India's domestic interests. So with this, everything is clear now. Then it also talked about the economic unilateralism. So what does it further talk about? It discussed the economic unilateralism. The Shanghai Corporation Organization members expressed a united front against the unilateral sanctions and tariffs framing such measures as a violation of international laws. In a way, targeting the US's tariffs recently, how it has raised tariffs against the sovereign countries. So with this regard, the organization has raised this issue about the economic unilateralism. Then also it highlighted the China's leadership. President Jinping introduced the global governance initiative. This is very much important. It can be asked in the prelims. A framework advocating for a new multipolar and world order based on sovereign equality and multilateralism. So it is the global governance initiative which has been introduced by China, by its president, by Chinese President Xi Jinping. So this can be very much important for our exam, for our next exam. Then also it talks about the institutional expansion. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization decided to merge its non-member states into a single partner status and accepted Laos into the fold into the fold. So what are its non-member countries who are part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? It has decided to accept them also. So it has decided to merge its non-member countries too. This is the they are trying to, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, they are trying to expand it in a way. It also agreed to establish an Shanghai Cooperation Organization Development Bank, a long-term goal of Beijing. Then it further talked about the geopolitical consensus with respect to the Gaza war, which is happening right now. I would prefer to call it a Gaza genocide, which the Israel is doing right now. It has declared the all the members, including India, every country. The declaration expressed deep concern over the war in Gaza, condemned strikes on Iran, what the Israel did with respect to Iran, and called for an inclusive government in Afghanistan. So these are the issues which are raised here. With respect to geopolitics, it talked about the genocide in Gaza, how there are war in Gaza is happening, which is a one-way genocide is happening there, and then it condemned the strikes on Iran, and also it called for the inclusive government in Afghanistan. But even though there were many things which were discussed and there was consensus with respect almost everything, but still there was one thing which India is opposing till now, that is China's Belt and Road Initiative, which India is opposing. So here, what are the different views? While the declaration reflected broad consensus, India notably did not support the Belt and Road Initiative, a stance shared by all other members. So all the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, they share this, that they are either the part of it or they are willing to be the part of it. But India, it is totally against it, and it was very much notable here. So this is only the single thing which emerged here, which India is not comfortable with, that is Belt and Road Initiative. So in a way, it was very successful summit, very successful visit from PM Modi, and well appreciated and well timed visit, because we need the China's support when there would be the BRICS summit in India next year. So there are broader geopolitics is happening in these organizations, and also right now how US is treating its allies. So it is best time for the in Asia, especially the China and the India, to leave their differences aside and start to work together so that we can build the better world. So with respect to this, let's have a look at what type of question can be asked in the exam. A prelims based question. Here the question, a very simple question can be asked, which says, which of the following countries is a full member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? So what do you think, which is a full member? Is Afghanistan a full member? No, Afghanistan is not a full member, so we can easily eliminate option 1 and option 4. Now here we have option 2 in common, so definitely option 2 is there. Now the issue is with option 4. It means that Mongolia is also not there. Definitely there would be Belarus. It is also the permanent member. So with respect to this, the correct answer is option 2 and option 4. From the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, let's move to the another slide and see what are the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Here is the list of the founding members. It is China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. Later entrants are India, Pakistan, Iran, and Belarus, and maybe Laos, Afghanistan. They would be added in next few years. So with this, I hope you had understood the article. Very simple article, very factual article. What few important points we raised here, especially with respect to the China's global governance initiative, which can be the game changing. So and it could be relevant for your exam in any way. So with this, I hope you had understood the article very well, and you had understood the question, and you can see what are its members. Now here I would like to take a minute to give the introduction of this initiative which we had started from 2nd June. We started it from 2nd June 2025. So let me give the little initiative about it, so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. Every day we had promised you we will upload 2 videos, one in the morning session which will deal with current affairs, and this is this video. Second, in the evening session, which will deal with the static syllabus of yours. And here we had promised by the month of January 2026 we are going to complete your full syllabus. And every day we used to upload the videos here. We had already completed Indian polity, governance. These two we had completed in 30 and 11 lectures, 41 lectures. And after that, we had started with Indian history and started with ancient history. Already in it we completed 6 lectures, but from last 1 week we are not taking any class because I was really busy with traveling issues. So from today onwards we are definitely going to take your classes every day, and we can assure you that by the month of January, as we had promised you, by the month of 31st Jan 2026 we will complete your full syllabus, whatever would be required for you to clear the exam, whether related to prelims or mains. Only exception is that we are not going to cover your optional subjects. And also here I would like to mention that as we are delivering these lectures, this is most important point which I am raising here. As we are delivering these lectures, at the same time we had prepared notes for you, with respect to the subjects we had completed. For example, we had right now completed Indian polity and governance. We had completed the notes for you. These notes we had collaborated, completed, and if I can tell you here that it is in 1100 pages we had wrote this book, for the comprehensive book for Indian polity and governance, in 1100 pages. And what is the feature, what is good part about this book is that after every concept which we had discussed there, we had brought the prelims model question as well as mains model question, so that it will give the proper idea how the questions can be asked from these articles and how they are important for your exams. If you want to get access to it, what you will have to do, just mail me at salvation UPSC 136 @gmail.com, and when you will mail me, you will be told to pay only 200 rupees for this book. This is the minimum amount which you can pay to this initiative. Only 200 rupees you will be told to pay, and you will get access to it. And I can guarantee you there is no topic which you will miss from this book. So with this, let's move to the another part. First, if you want to be the part to this initiative, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Now without any delay, let's move to the another topic and see what it is about. Well, it is about carbon pricing and taxes, rethinking carbon pricing and taxes. So the issue is here with respect to the recently we completed our free trade agreement with UK, and we will get the, in a way, free access to the UK markets with respect to the steel, mostly steel industry. But unfortunately, what we are noticing right now, according to the article, that the carbon mechanism, for example, the way they are dealing with the carbon mechanism and the way we deal with it is totally different. For example, for them it is the carbon border adjustment mechanism, and for us it is carbon credit trading mechanism. These are totally two different things, and our carbon trading mechanism, it does not stand with the UK's demands. So with respect to this, what can happen, that our prices can increase, the prices for our steel, it can increase to more than 20 to 40%, which may not be good for us, which may not be good for our steel industry and other such industries. So what here the article is suggesting, that it is prime time for the government to analyze our carbon laws, how we do the carbon trading, that we should make them in such a way that they should be in line with the international laws. This is in a nutshell what this article tries to talk about. So with respect to this, let's try to understand what are the key points given in here. First, it talks about UK's carbon border adjustment mechanism. Will the UK carbon border adjustment mechanism will levy a carbon charge on imports like steel and aluminium, potentially increasing costs for Indian exports by 20 to 40%. This is what we discussed. This cost increases could negate the zero duty benefit of the India UK FTA. So it can impact this zero zero duty benefit of India-UK free trade agreement. Then what is the carbon price disparity? A major issue is the significant gap between the UK's carbon price, which is 66 tons of carbon dioxide, and India's projected carbon price, which is 8 to 10 tons of carbon dioxide under the CCTS, under the carbon credit, trading scheme. So this is the issue here. This disparity limits the deduction available to Indian exporters. Then the global carbon pricing. The article argues for a global carbon pricing agreement to prevent fragmented systems that cause economic distortions and undermine climate goals. It refers at a tiered approach suggested by the International Monetary Fund, and a three-phase approach proposed by the World Economic Forum. Then also India's domestic strategy. The author suggests that India must act proactively by consolidating taxes, streamlining various implicit carbon taxes into a single explicit carbon tax under the CCTS. Then investing in clean technology, viewing clean technology not just as a compliance requirement but as a tool for efficiency and competitiveness. Then using revenues for decarbonization, plowing back revenues from carbon taxes to fund industrial decarbonization efforts, and using the climate finance taxonomy. The Ministry of Finance draft taxonomy can help boost investment in clean technology. So this is what these are the points which were given in the article. So in nutshell, what we need to know, what we need to know from this article, that the carbon mechanism, how we deal with it in India, it is not in line with what the UK deals with. So it can impact the free trade agreement which we had signed with the UK. What can be the solution for this? First, we need to bring in laws which can be in line with the international laws. We need to, consolidate taxes. We need to invest in clean technology. We need to use revenues for decarbonization, and we need to use the climate finance taxonomy. So this is what are the recommendations given by the article here. So with this, let's see what kind of question can be framed from this article. Here the question says, which of the following statements about carbon pricing mechanism are correct? First statement, a carbon border adjustment mechanism imposes a carbon price on imported goods to equalize the carbon price paid by the domestic producers. Imposes a carbon price on imported goods to the carbon 100% correct. First statement is correct. It imposes a carbon price on imported goods to equalize the carbon price paid by the domestic producers, so that it can make it very much equitable for both. Then carbon credit trading scheme in India is a form of an explicit carbon tax. No, it is not an explicit carbon tax. It is incorrect. Third, a unified global carbon prices is essential to align all countries' emissions reduction commitments under the Paris Agreement. It is not essential, but it is recommended. So this is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is only option 1, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, I hope you had understood this article as well. Now let's move to the third article and see what is the issue discussed here. Well, here the issue is with respect to the conflict which is happening, which is long-lasting conflict now from 2020, we can say, between center and Tamil Nadu. The issue is with respect to the new education policy of 2020, where the center wants to implement 3-language policy, that every state should, in their school, they should have 3 languages. First, English, Hindi maybe. It is not explicitly mentioned that it should be Hindi, but we can say Hindi and the local language. But the Tamil Nadu government or the South Indian governments, they are opposing it, and they are saying that we should not have 3-language policy, but instead we should have 2-language policy, English and local language, no Hindi. So this is the conflict going on, and under this conflict, now in a way, Tamil Nadu government is accusing center that center is trying to punish for the political differences the children of the students of Tamil Nadu, the children of Tamil Nadu in getting their education. How? Because there is something called the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan scheme, under which which is an overreaching program of the government of India that integrated the 3 erstwhile schemes of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamika Shiksha Abhiyan, and the teacher education. It has these were 3 separate schemes. It has integrated them into one, and which is Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, and its aim is to ensure inclusive and equitable education at all levels. So it will provide the funds. So what Tamil Nadu government is blaming, that under this 3,000 crore has been withheld by the center to the Tamil Nadu government, and center is blaming the saying that there is the issue of the usage of this money, that's why they had blocked it. And also under this, why they are giving this, because we have the right to education, which is the fundamental right. Under this right to education, for every private school they have to give the 25% reservation to economically backward sections, and this burden would be dealt by the state. And how state deals with this burden? Through this fund. And if right now the center is not providing this fund to the Tamil Nadu government, so definitely eventually the students are going to get affected. Now what they had reached to the Supreme Court, and now finally the Supreme Court has issued notice over the denial of the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan to Tamil Nadu. So this is the story right now. With respect to this, let's have a look at the key points and try to understand it more properly. Here, what is the legal dispute? The Supreme Court is examining an appeal by the Tamil Nadu government against a Madras High Court's ruling that absolved the center of its financial obligation to the state of for Right to Education Act reimbursements. Then the Madras High Court, it has resolved the center that it is not their financial burden, it is the burden of the states, not the burden of the center, to provide the reimbursements to the private institutes which give 25% educational scholarship, or we can say reservation to these students so that they can get the education. And these funds which were given by the center, now the center has stopped it. When they went to the Madras High Court, the Madras High Court said then that it is not the duty of the center, it is the obligation of the states. Now they had appealed it in the Supreme Court, and now Supreme Court is examining this issue. Now what is the central government's stance? The center has argued that it has issued with disbursing funds under the Samagra Shiksha scheme because Tamil Nadu has not implemented the new education policy. So it has issues, center has issues with the disbursing of funds with respect to Tamil Nadu, with respect to the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, and also they had not implemented the new education policy of 2020. What is the Tamil Nadu's argument? The state claims the center's refusal is to provide funds. Center's refusal to provide funds is an arbitrary, which is against Article 14 of the Indian Constitution. Arbitrary move linked to a political disagreement over the national education policy's three-language policy. Then it also argues that both the center and the states have a concurrent financial responsibility to fund education for disadvantaged children under Section 7 of the Right to Education Act. Then the Right to Education, it further talked about the Right to Education Act's provisions. The Right to Education Act 2009 mandates that private schools reserve 25% of their entry-level seats for children from economically weaker sections, and the state is responsible for reimbursing the schools for these ambitions. And finally the Supreme Court's action. The court has issued a notice to the center seeking a response to Tamil Nadu's petition within 4 weeks. So this is the story so far. I hope you had understood it. Now with respect to this, let us see what kind of question can be asked in the exam. Here the question says, which of the following statements about the Right to Education Act 2009 are correct? First, the act makes education a fundamental right for education between the age 6 to 14. Correct. It mandates that all private unaided schools reserve 25% of seats for economically weaker sections. Correct. Third, the subjects of education is placed in the union list of the 7th schedule. No, it is not in the union list but the concurrent list. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 1 and statement 2. And from the code given below, the correct code is option B. With this, let's move to the another article and see what is given in here. Here the question is again about the brain eating amoeba, which is right now it is spreading in Kerala and many people have died. As you can see, 2 more have died with respect to this. So let's see what does this article talk about. Let's try to understand it because we had discussed it many times. Here the article says new fatalities, the death of 2 more, which is not important. Contamination source, the source is suspected to have been contracted from contaminated water. This is the major source for this disease. Infection variant, the specific variant of the infection reported in Kerala is granulomatous amoebic encephalitis. So this is the special variant of the encephalitis which has infected these children. Then what are the total cases? 42 cases so far. Mode of transmission: the amoeba enters the body through the nose for contaminated water. We know that public health response: the state health department has launched a proactive statewide campaign to ensure the cleanliness and proper chlorination of all water bodies to prevent further infections. Very much clear, very much simple to understand. And with respect to this, it is third time we are discussing this article. So let's see what kind of question can be asked. A simple question with reference to amoebic meningoencephalitis. Which of the following statements are correct? First, it is a viral infection. No, it is an amoebic infection. So here I can ask you for a favor. Please do find which amoeba is responsible for this disease. If you want to answer, please do write in the comments. Then, amoeba responsible for the disease enters the body through the nose. That is correct. Person to person transmission is the most common mode. No, it is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 2 only, B only. With this, there is a small homework, which is, please find out what is the name of the amoeba. Name of the amoeba responsible for it. So, and please do write in the comments, because we had discussed it many times now. Now let's move to the another article here. Well, it is about the noise pollution is rising, but policy is failing silent. So what is the issue here? Let's try to understand. We know how noise pollution can be very much dangerous. With respect to this, let's directly jump to the key points and try to understand it. Well, it is a public health crisis. The article describes urban noise pollution as a neglected public health crisis, eroding the right to peace and dignity guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution. And what are the failed enforcements? What are the various enforcement despite the noise pollution regulation and control rules 2000 and the National Ambient Noise Monitoring Network NANMN? Data is often incomplete, scattered, and fails to drive effective actions. Many sensors are improperly placed, and enforcement agencies lack accountability and coordination. So we have these laws, we have the NMN, but unfortunately it is not successful. It has been not successfully implemented. But what is the comparison with Europe? Unlike in Europe, where noise induced health issues and economic costs shape policy, India suffers from regulatory fragmentation and international institutional silence. There is regulation fragmentation and institutional silence. We have the law, but unfortunately it is not being implemented properly. What is the constitutional neglect here? The article argues that the state's failure to control noise pollution constitutes constitutional neglect, as it violates the right to life with dignity under Article 21 and the state's duty to protect the environment under Article 48A. So it in a way violates this neglect from the state. It violates the constitutional constitutional rights which are given to us. Then what is the ecological impact? Excessive noise disrupts the sleep and behavior of urban wildlife, signaling a breakdown in ecological communication systems. Then it also talks about the societal apathy. The problem is exacerbated by a normalization of noise or civic fatigue, where noise pollution is tolerated because, unlike other pollutants, it leaves no visible residue. So this is also the issue. What are the recommendations for reform? The article suggests several steps to address the issue. First, decentralize NANMN to empower local bodies. First, we need to decentralize National Ambient Noise Monitoring Network. Then second, link monitoring to enforcement with clear penalties. Institutionalize awareness through sustained campaigns and embed acoustic resilience in urban planning. So these can be the ways in which we can bring some reforms with respect to the noise pollution. So very technical article. What you need to do, please do note down, take a screenshot of it, or take the PPT and read from that. Here, what kind of question can be asked? Very simple. Which of the following constitutional provisions are directly related to the right to a healthy environment and freedom from pollution in India? Article 19 correct. Article 21 correct. Article 48 correct. Article 51A correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 2, 3, and 4. And from the code given below, the correct code is option D. With this, let's move to the last article of today's discussion. Well, it talks about the ethanol blending, as there was a petition in Supreme Court which asked the Supreme Court to, in a way, to roll out the 20% ethanol blending, but Supreme Court did not entertain the plea. Why? Because it told it is the domain of the legislator, executive. It is the domain of the executive, domain of the government to deal with it. We are nobody to discuss it. So Supreme Court did not entertain the plea. So with respect to this, let's try to understand what are the key points given in here which are important for us. Here, what is the judicial outcome? The Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice of India B.R. Gawai, rejected a plea to halt the compulsory use of E20 fuel, stating that the government's policy was not a matter for judicial interference. Then, what is the petitioner's argument? The petition, while not opposing ethanol blending in principle, sought Then further, petitioner's argument, the petitioner, while not opposing ethanol blending in principle, it did not oppose actually. It said that the vehicles which are manufactured before April 2023, for them there should be for their engines are not designed in a way that they can stand the ethanol blended petrol, and because of that the consumption is very huge with respect to them, and it is not friendly for the users. So this was the argument of the petitioner, and it did not, as the article here says, that the petitioner, while not opposing the ethanol blending in principle, sought the continued availability of the ethanol free petrol for vehicles manufactured before April 2023. They sought that there should be the continued availability of the ethanol free petrol for vehicles manufactured before April 2023. What is the government's defense? The Attorney General argued that the ethanol blending program is crucial for bolstering the income of sugarcane farmers and conserving foreign exchange. He also questioned the petitioner's motive, suggesting it was backed by a lobby opposed to India's clean fuel transition. Now, what are the key issues raised? First, fuel efficiency. The petitioner cited a Niti Aayog's report noting a 6 to 7% drop in the fuel efficiency for four-wheelers and a 3 to 4% drop for the two-wheelers. It is Niti Aayog which has given us this data. Then what is the fundamental rights? The petitioner claimed the policy violated the fundamental rights of the vehicle owners by removing their consumer choice and potentially damaging their vehicle. Then insurance and warranty. It argued that the vehicle warranties and insurance claim could be violated due to the use of the incomplete fuel. Then also lack of awareness. The plea also sought a mandate for proper fuel pump labeling and a national-wide impact study on the non-compliant vehicles. So these are the issues which are raised under this article. Now, with respect to this, what kind of question can be asked? Here, a very simple question which says India's ambitious ethanol blending program is a classical example of balancing economic, environmental, and social objectives. So under these headings, you can write an answer to it. If you want me to check it, you can send your answer to me at salvation UPSC 136@gmail.com. You can send your answer at this mail ID and I will definitely check your answer. So with respect to this, we had completed our today's discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much and have a nice day.